Good morning, everybody. What a crazy ride on some earnings yesterday. Apple reported earnings, and CEO Tim Cook mentioned that they still have a memory supply demand constraint, which is actually putting a lot of pressure on Apple. So we're seeing this huge sell off. Now, Amazon with AWS actually beat earnings quite substantially, coming into a lot of resistance on the way up. Has made a little bit of a pullback from the pre-market. However, it still looks like it may have a little bit higher to go, kind of like what happened with Microsoft yesterday. That was the biggest move since 2008 on Microsoft. So we're going to cover all those as well as a couple different requests. And then if you guys want to stay tuned to the end of the video, those of you guys who know me, I like dad jokes, and I'm going to give you guys one at the end of the video, but only if you guys want to stay around for that. So let's go ahead and jump into the charts. The first one we're going to go over is the SPY. So I'm going to share my charts with you guys. Here we go. The S&P 500, nice bid to the upside. So now today I have the 200-day moving average, which is this yellow line, the 50, which is a blue line, and the 20-day moving average. So what I'm noticing is now that we've maintained price action above this this upsloping trend line, once you get up into these moving averages, you're gonna see a lot of resistance. So for me, my first level of resistance is going to be sitting here at $745.06. Now, I'm not going to be a little bit aggressive on that, even though you're going to have resistance here. So you should see a little bit of a sell-off. However, I love this gap for resistance just above these 200-day moving moving averages at $747.41. So really, this is my resistance level on the SPY today. The QQQ sitting right here, it's got a nice bid to the upside. Broke through this support level, came all the way down into this price consolidation right here. So really you had a support zone from this pivot top here all the way down here, and it actually caught support right on this $664.24 level before going up. Now, on the way up, I don't have the moving averages on this one. So what I'm looking at is a couple different resistance levels. What I like though is $696.06. This is the level that I'm eyeing for a potential short opportunity on the QQQ if we can get another surge to the upside. So from the opening candle or the close yesterday, this is only about a $12.58 move. So about 2%, which means that it's not a substantial move to the upside. If we don't get a pullback off that and it closes on a 15-minute closing basis, I would actually look to stop out of the trade and then look for the next resistance level. For me, it's going to be this low pivot right here at about $700 Pierce, going to be another key resistance level. And you have this gap in the charts sitting at 705.35. So if I was a little bit more conservative and had a lot of patience, that is the level that I'd be interested in shorting the QQQ. SOXX still have this measured move on a downside target. After this break of this head and shoulders pattern, we got into all this support, similar to what happened with the QQQ. Support range was from basically $465.79 all the way down to the lower end of this pivot top right here, about $449.97. Every once in a while, you get a nice bid from a major support level, and it doesn't flush. And that's what happened with the SOXX. We're actually above this gap right here, which is what I was actually targeting yesterday for a potential short on the SOXX, $516.23. Now that we're above that, here's my next level of resistance. You see this low pivot point right here, and it's just above where price action currently is on the SOXX. So I do anticipate at least a little bit of a pullback at $521.59. If it does start getting above that, what I'm going to do is look for additional resistance. Here's a previous gap in the charts right here. But you notice this is also correlating with this pivot low here, and then a secondary gap or previous gap in the charts at $530. So this is my major resistance level on the SOXX if we do break above $521.59, and that's sitting at $530.23. The XOXX still has a little bit more room to run, but this is where I think that the SOXX is going to have some major resistance and going to struggle to get above today. Now, if it does start getting above that over the next few days, we're still targeting this upsloping trend line for additional resistance, at least for me, for a potential swing trade opportunity. And that's sitting around $551.24. Still have this gap, and it would be a possible retrace of this upsloping trend line or the neckline of the head and shoulders pattern. The SMH, similar price action, got a nice bid off of this gap in the charts. It did close below that. However, support range on the SMH got a nice bid to the upside. Same with the SOXX though. We are above this gap in the charts. If we're above it, it does indicate that there's going to be additional buying pressure as the market opens. So for me, $554.66. I would actually wait and get in a little bit later and wait for a $555 pierce. But for me, that's going to be a lot of resistance on the SMH based on the previous price action that's happened in the charts. Now, if it does start getting above that, my next level of resistance is $561.19. That's going to be a lot of resistance on the charts for the SMH going forward. USO, not really doing a whole lot. So we're not going to cover anything here. I'm still eyeing this gap in the charts at $136.69 for resistance, and then support. This is going to be some support at 125.30. However, I'm still eyeing this previous gap in the charts at 119.30. SNDK, what a surge the last few days. Caught support. It actually almost got down in the pre-market to $964.02. Look at this major pivot top in the SNDK chart. Price consolidated right in this area, came back in and almost hit this perfectly. And then now we're surging to the upside. Like, we are surging massively off of that bounce. So for me, the level that I'd be looking at for resistance, and this is just going to be a slight pause in the chart of SNDK, and that's at 1354.82. The next level of resistance above that is going to be this previous gap in the charts right here at about 130. Here, let me go ahead and actually put that in the charts right here. That's going to be $1,390.95. Not only do you have this previous gap in the charts, but you also got this low pivot. And then look at all of this price consolidation. And I say that because there was somebody in the chat that had said that they had dollar cost average and they were down on their position about 5.51%. And this is something to kind of keep note of, right? Is when people get out of the money, once it gets back close to their break even, they actually start selling their position. And that's why some of these resistance levels work out so well, is because there are a lot of people who are bullish on SanDisk, got flushed out, dropped another 30, 40%. So once it gets to their break even, they are likely going to unload their shares instead of taking advantage of a potential move to the upside. This actually works really well in our favor if we're looking for resistance levels, because that helps drive the price of that stock down. So this is why I look for previous gaps in the charts and price consolidation, because there are going to be, again, people who want to unload their position because they were out of the money significantly. Bloom Energy, this was a stock that I was mentioning. If it did close above 206.73 on a 15-minute closing basis, something like BE can really move to the upside. That's why I was going to stop out on a 15-minute closing basis, and that's what would happen, and that's fine. So what we got to do is identify where the next level of resistance is going to be. So here's a low pivot point in the charts of Bloom Energy, $230.61. What I like about this level on Bloom Energy is you've got this major pivot in the charts. The price action caught support, came back below, was resistance. Although it didn't hit perfectly, look at all of these tails. There are a ton of buyers who were stuck in Bloom Energy right here. Huge sell-off, finally caught a bounce, and now we're pushing back up. So these people are likely to want to exit their trade. And again, that's sitting at about $230.61. Now, if I was going to be a little bit more aggressive, I would actually enter it slightly above the, or excuse me, below that at a $230 pierce. I wouldn't necessarily wait for about a $230.61 level. But again, ton of resistance on Bloom Energy. Same process though. The shortable stock or shortable level 230.61 is that level. And if it does start closing above that on a 15-minute closing basis, it's likely to head all the way up to about $239.38. That's another gap in the charts that still needs to be filled. And once that happens, all of a sudden, you should get a nice sell-off in BE. Roblox, oh my gosh. This thing has gotten beaten up substantially. This was going to be my swing trade level, and I had mentioned this several times, $39.50. It would have missed me several different times. Now, on the back for earnings, I don't have a swing trade level yet. However, for a day trade, what I'm looking at is this gap in the charts sitting at $37.32. And a huge sell-off on Roblox on the back of earnings. Look at that move, 23%. So this is the first level of support on the way down on RBLX. Next level of support below that, I would say would be right here based on a previous or actually a gap in the charts at $36.18. So a couple different support levels on Roblox after this massive sell-off. I do anticipate some sort of a bounce in this zone on RBLX. Micron, woo, what a surge to the upside. The level that I'm actually eyeing today on Micron is actually 3 levels. First level of resistance that I see is this previous gap right here. As you can see, it was respected here. It was support again here, came back in, finally flushed that level. And from this previous gap in the charts at $937, we had a 22% drawdown. And then in just a couple days, that's a 25% move to the upside. So if you were stuck in this trade down 25% and it comes back up close to your break even, you're likely to exit that trade. And that's why we can anticipate a pullback from that level. If it does start getting above that, next level of resistance is going to be sitting right here at $959.03. And then really a major gap is sitting at $990.21. So if I was going to be ultimately conservative, this is the level. But I don't see it Micron going up as high as $991.21 today. So this is a level that I'd be looking at in the next few days to potentially enter MU for a day trade shortable level. We still have this upswing trend line. I'm going to have to zoom way out in the charts. You got a pivot low here, secondary hit, third hit, fourth hit, price consolidated right inside this nice wedge, broke below it, came back and retraced it beautifully. Now all of a sudden we had this huge sell-off into the $751 level, gap in the charts, as well as a retrace of this downsloping trend line. So on the way up, I still love this upsloping trend line for a potential swing trade. If we can head all the way up to about $1,059 all the way up to about $1,067. It really depends on when it hits this upsloping trend line. Going to be a ton of resistance in here on MU if we do get those continued surges to the upside. Reddit, I did go over this in a recorded video. Pivot low here, secondary hit, third hit. I was mentioning this upsloping trend line was still going to be support. However, earnings came out. So now that earnings have come out, this level is no longer on the table for me. So 152.44 is a first level of support for a potential day trade. Notice this low pivot in the charts, as well as all of this price consolidation in this area. And you've got a couple pivot tops. So this is telling me that if price action can head down a little bit more to 152.44, you are going to get a little bit of support here with a secondary level of support at a sub 150 level, and that's at 149.45. I don't anticipate getting a huge bounce today on Reddit, but every once in a while, things can play out where you do have a ton of buyers in here, and then we can actually go up about 5 to 6 to 7% on a stock like Reddit. CoreWeave, here was a couple different levels I was mentioning. One thing that I missed though on Reddit, on CoreWeave, $63.80 was that level that I was mentioning for a great support level, as well as $68.86. Every once in a while, flushes will happen, and that's what happened on CRWV. You zoom out in the charts, this pivot top or this pivot low also correlated with this pivot top right here. So I missed that. I didn't zoom out far enough in the charts. So this would have been a major support level for me on CRWV. And every once in a while, you'll get closes below to get all the bulls on board, indicating that there should be a continued sell-off. And then all of a sudden, we get these nice surges to the upside, because this basically traps everybody who now thinks that it's going to go lower. And so they jump on board with shorts. And then when the shorts finally start squeezing a little bit more, they get out of the money, they panic, and they cover, which means that they're buying the stock, and that's what drives it higher. So here's that level that I was mentioning on CoreWeave for a potential breakout opportunity. Pivot top here, secondary hit. Right now, we're into that resistance level on CoreWeave. So this would be the third hit of this downsloping trend line. So I still anticipate some sort of a pullback, but now that we've solidified $86.86 and $64.62 on the way down, these are still my support levels on CoreWeave. If we can break above it and then retrace back down to $86.68 or $68.86, that is your ideal buy zone on CRWV, or at least that would be what I would be looking at on CoreWeave if I wasn't already in the trade right here. Microsoft, it crushed a couple of different resistance levels I had on the way up, but this is one of the reasons I was a little bit more conservative. And on a 15-minute closing basis, if price action does start closing above that, look for additional resistance. Instead of trying to dollar cost average, you would have just gotten crushed on this trade. So the level that I'm looking at is $460.52. You have this beautiful gap in the charts with additional resistance at $465.13. Because I've got these resistance levels on the way up, if we can get this surge to the upside into this gap in the charts, this is something that I would look to add to my position right here at 465.13. You zoom out, look at this low pivot in the charts. This is going to be a ton of resistance on the way up. It's already proven that one time. And so the secondary hit of this horizontal trend line is going to be some pretty substantial resistance. And that's why I like the chart of Microsoft for a potential short opportunity today. We'll have to wait a couple days to see what price action does as far as potential shorting opportunities for a swing trade. Right now, these are going to be some really substantial resistance levels on the way up for Microsoft. Tesla into a lot of support. I was really expecting Tesla to head down to $295.88. Now all of a sudden, it did close below this $302.63. Got back above it, reestablished itself. So if we can get back into, or if price action can get back into 302.63, I'm a buyer for a swing trade on Tesla at this level, knowing that my stop out level would still be below $295.88, not with a close below. I would need a continuation move, and then I would look to exit the trade and identify next level of support, and that's going to be at $274.76. Now that we've started to make a little bit of a reversal and we've waited a few days on Tesla, now I see Tesla starting to creep up. Major resistance level on the way up, though, is going to be $337.24. Look at the sell-off on Apple. It kind of gave us a couple different ideas that we were going to have a sell-off. First was this reversal candle. And then all of a sudden, you had to retrace this upswing trend line not only once, but twice. Still never got up to my $345 level. And I don't like to short things going into earnings. Now we're dropping all the way back down to $306.93 in the pre-market. So my resistance level has already been taken off the table. What I'm looking for a bounce, and this would be still a continued sell-off on the way down for Apple, and that's sitting at $300.46. I would actually be a little bit more aggressive and enter before the whole round number appears, only because of all of this bullish consolidation came back down, and then we had this bearish consolidation underneath this support. Underneath this resistance, got back above, haven't come back and retested this after this resistance level became support. And so on the way down, this is going to be a ton of support on AAPL. AMD, sorry, I'm looking at Grumpy Doodle. Anyway, so here's AMD. AMD had some resistance at this gap in the charts at $494.95. On the way up, here's the level that I'd be looking at on AMD. Look at how it just kind of flushed through these support levels. So on the way up, what I'm looking at is this resistance level, previous gap in the charts, ton of price consolidation in this area right here. So $521.54 is going to be a ton of resistance. Now you are going to have a couple different levels of resistance before that. So my first level of resistance before that is $511.57. And then you had this previous gap in the charts sitting just above 515 bucks. I'm gonna go ahead and add that for you guys. $517.41. If I were to dollar cost average, my first entry price would be for $511.57. I would look to add at $517.41, knowing that if it does get above 521.54, which would be an additional add level, I would just stop out on a 15-minute closing basis above that, and then potentially look for another resistance level at 527.44. Let's go into Meta. Meta had a huge fall. I was mentioning that this previous gap in the charts was going to, or excuse me, this gap in the charts was going to be support. And if I was a little bit more conservative, $520.26 was going to be additional support. Look at that bounce on Meta. Huge sell-off and then a decent recovery, going up as much as 3.5%. Here's your resistance level on Meta. Because there's been such a significant sell-off, I would not be interested in entering the short at a $550 Pierce. It's just not enough resistance. It flushed through, but these people here were not all of a sudden going to be scared to look to exit. I would have to actually wait for this gap in the charts. If we did head up to this pre-gap, or this pre-gap in the charts at $586, this is a level that I'd be looking at getting into Meta for a potential short. Qualcomm, on the way up, you're going to have a little bit of resistance. This head and shoulders pattern still has more potential downside for a continued move. However, with the rest of the markets, Qualcomm is heading higher on a potential day trade opportunity. $555.95 is going to be a little bit of resistance. You have this gap in the charts that was created from the 29th of July closing price to the opening price at $146.48. So this created a gap in the charts for Qualcomm. So there should be some resistance here for a quick short scalp on Qualcomm if it can break 155.95. That's going to be a quick scalp. Maybe 1.5% is what I anticipate for a pullback. For me, though, Qualcomm, this major pivot or this minor pivot in the charts, but a low pivot point at 164.77 is the level that I'd be looking at Qualcomm for a potential shorting opportunity today. ARM had this huge downsloping trend line. We tried to get above it yesterday, surged all the way up, fill this gap, and then look at the sell-off in ARM. What I'm looking at, though, is what happens with this downsloping trend line. The more often a resistance level is hit, pivot top here, secondary hit, third hit, fourth hit, fifth hit, the weaker this resistance gets, this allows everybody who wants to sell the stock to exit it and drive the price higher. Not necessarily I'm a buyer yet. What I want to see is this downsloping trend line taken out, reestablish itself above $256.73, make a continuation move. If we can take out $267.95, come back in, flush this level and retrace all the way down to about 242.14, then I'm a buyer on ARM. But right now we're still seeing some weaknesses, so I'm going to hold off on ARM at least for the time being. If we start pushing up with the semiconductors, I'm looking at $290.45 for a short opportunity today, but that would be a pretty substantial move to the upside. That's about a 14% move higher from the current price action. I don't anticipate it getting up there, but that's the only level that I would be looking for a potential short opportunity on ARM. Now on the way down though, $223.15. If we can get a rollover in ARM, not only do you have this gap in the charts just a little bit higher, but a previous gap that has acted as support before. So on the way down, 223.15 is still a great support level for me on ARM after this nice surge to the upside. Robinhood, we have to monitor when earnings come out. And I'm not sure when earnings come out or if they have. Still identifying this upswing trend line. Pivot low here, secondary hit. I love this support area for Robinhood if we can drop a little bit more, as long as earnings aren't on the radar. So $84.42 is going to be a ton of support on Robinhood. And so that's where I anticipate us getting a nice bounce on this chart. Now, if it does start closing below that on a daily closing basis with continuation, then we can anticipate additional further downside. But right now, it hasn't even touched it. So this is the level I'm looking at. ASML, here's another move that I'm eyeing today for a potential shorting opportunity. What I like about ASML, if we can surge up to the upside, you have this previous gap, low pivot point here, ton of support, closed below it, got back above. You can see that at one point in time, $1,732.23 was a ton of support on ASML. Finally flushed that level. Not a huge move to the downside. Let's see, that was about an 11% move, but still there were probably people dollar cost averaging into that. And so if they're out of the money, 11% comes back up. All of this previous support is going to act as a ton of resistance. That's why I like $1,732.23. And here's additional resistance on ASML if it does get above that, and that's at 1755.83. All right, let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon is surging to the upside. It got all the way up to about $265.29. So now that we're getting this pullback below this previous gap in the charts at $261.26, if we can continue the push to the upside and get back up to this previous gap, I love this area for resistance. Not only that, but there's another secondary resistance level at 267.22, where in the pre-market, it touched it briefly, but never really got a substantial push above it. So this is going to be a solid resistance level as well. And if I was going to be really conservative and wait for a continued move, $270.61 is a gap in the charts. And as you can see, with this sell-off, there are people stuck in the trade right here who are looking to exit it if it goes back up into that level, which is why I would love it to head up to that level. And then this is my high conviction short trade at 270.61, like super, super high. And I would anticipate a 3, 4, or even 5% pullback from that level. Day trade though, because earnings come out, you know, I like to wait 3 to 5 days to determine what a support level or resistance level is after the price action continues. UUUU, Energy Fuels. Look at this. Pivot top here. Price broke above, came back in, retested it at $10.74. This is a ton of support on UUU. Now the support zone really goes all the way back down to $8.24. But what I'm loving about UUUU, Energy Fuels, pivot top here, secondary hit, third hit, fourth hit, got above, then got rejected again, finally stabilized itself, closed above it again yesterday. So if we make a continuation move and we can reestablish ourselves above $12.69, then all of a sudden the downtrend on Energy Fuels is going to be negated. And now all of a sudden we're going to start being in an uptrend. On the way up, what I would like to see is this pivot low maintaining. And then I would like to see a pivot top, come back in a little bit, create a higher low, and then a higher high, higher low, higher high, take out a lot of resistance. Now, that's forward thinking on Energy Fuels. However, that's what I want to see for a continued move to the upside. Right now, we have technically broken this downsloping trend line. So $10.74 is where I'd be a buyer on the chart of UUUU if we can get another pullback. All right, now I'm going to go into a little bit more of a analysis on NBIS. Here's my resistance level on the way up. You have this previous gap in the charts on NBIS, and that's sitting at $213.02. Secondary level of resistance on NBIS is $220.97. So we're going to go ahead and remove this and we're going to change this positioning. So what I want to do is see if I can identify additional resistance levels. What I like to do is take pivot tops, connect with secondary pivot tops. Now, this is just going to be one resistance level on the way up for NBIS. So if we can head all the way and hit this retrace of this downsloping trend line around $254.71, really depends on when it hits. That's going to be some resistance on NBIS. Second thing I like to do is take that same pivot and see if there was a secondary or third pivot that I missed to see where additional resistance is. So here's a pivot top here, secondary hit, third hit, price consolidation, and then we got a major rejection off of this downsloping trend line. So on the way up, as you can see, sitting right here at $200 is going to be additional resistance. Not only that, but look at these low pivots. So I do anticipate some sort of a pullback on NBIS. If we can stay right here at the opening bell, $200, you should get a little bit of resistance on the way, small pullback. This would also be the line in the sand. If we start recapturing this downsloping trend line, make a continuation move, take out some of these low pivots and retrace all the way back down, maybe even fill this gap at the same time we're hitting this downsloping trend line, that is what I would like to see for me to get into a swing trade long on the chart of NBIS group. If we fail to get above this and maintain any current price action, then all of a sudden it opens the door for additional support. And my next level of support, now that we've recaptured it, would be this pivot top here. And so then we're looking at support at $166.77 with this previous gap in the charts. As you can see, we did flush that level a little bit, but we've reestablished ourselves above this gap in the charts. And so really, this is my support zone, 166.77, all the way down to 154.49. All right, so I did have a joke for you guys. All right, so why don't you sing into a colander? Because you're going to strain your voice. Anyway, that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Please make sure you're smashing that like button. Go ahead and follow or subscribe if you're not already. And then go ahead and ring that bell so you get notified when these videos go live, or I drop another chart analysis, a group of stocks for you guys in the afternoon video. So we'll see you guys next time. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.